Is it normal for people in their 70s to get this? Let's, I'll put something on screen. Let's see. I'm gonna Google search it.
I'm gonna be honest. I haven't followed the news recently, and I lose track of this sometimes. Right now, who's the president? Is it Trump or is it Biden?
I honestly have no idea. I really don't.
I think J.D. Vance exemplified the right reaction here, which is you say, look, we pray for the guy who has cancer, and we're all headed for the dust at some point. So let's not be too cruel about it. But also, don't allow our sympathy to distract us from the legitimate political problem that we all have a right to discuss, which is we were lied to. We were lied to by the White House doctor. That White House doctor should probably lose his medical license.
Now, I also think it's kind of strange that you're just finding out about this illness now, but the question that I keep thinking of is why lie about it? What is the benefit? What benefit did Democrats get from lying about his terminal illness? Why wouldn't they say that when they switched out not Donald Trump, when they switched out Biden for Kamala Harris? Why didn't they use that instead of just letting people believe that it's because Biden was losing his mind and couldn't formulate a sentence? That doesn't make any, I don't see any benefit to actually lying about that. If there's a conspiracy, there has to be at least a benefit to that conspiracy. What is the benefit? What is the reward from lying and taking a risk like that?
One big irony in all of this, at a really low-end political level, the Democrats, when Biden's decline became clear, they decided to throw him out and replace him with Kamala Harris. And just knowing how life expectancy and metastatic cancer progresses, the Democrats would have had a much better chance getting Kamala Harris into the White House had they not...
Yeah, he's saying my point. Exactly. They would have had a much better chance if they just threw Biden out early and threw in Kamala Harris. Why would they... do you think that you're the only person that was able to think about that? Like, you don't think that thought comes across someone's mind? They knew that he had terminal cancer and they just thought, oh, he'll make it, he'll be all right. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I would be able to make a better plan than that. If I can make a better plan than that, if there is some big conspiracy going on, they have to be a little bit smarter than that, don't we think? If this is a big conspiracy at the top.
I mean, the White House said today, as Kamala said, the last time that not the White House, but Biden's people have come out and said the last time he had a PSA test was 2014 for fear it would be raised and raise concerns. I just don't believe that. Why?
See, like, what is there not to believe about that? What is the benefit from lying about that? Don't you think that they would have wanted to catch it earlier so he could remain healthy? What is the benefit? What is the reward from lying about a terminal illness? Just to let him die? Do you think they wanted Biden to die? What are you accusing them of? What is the conspiracy for? Are we just making conspiracies just to have conspiracies? Are we just what is the purpose behind this?
I love talking about the reality behind conspiracy theories. Often conspiracy theories, as we've discovered in the last few years, turn out to be correct. So I'm prepared to give everything a fair hearing.
That is not true.
Well, they sometimes they do, right? Some conspiracy theories turn out to be true. And then
that doesn't mean that you're just supposed to start making conspiracies about everything. Just because some things turn out to be true, yeah, sure, some conspiracies are going to be true. But then what about all the conspiracies that turn out not to be true? Where are all the COVID labs in China that were pumping out viruses and infecting the world? Where's all that stuff? There's so many conspiracies that just aren't true. So why are we going to focus on only the ones that are true?
I don't think it's a conspiracy theory to have expected a president of the United States in his 70s to have had a basic test that all men over the age of about 55 are encouraged to have on a regular basis. I don't believe them. And I think that is
enough. So
I actually think that's a fine position to have, because when I first heard this, I asked that question too. How do you just catch for an ex-president stage 4 cancer? Like, shouldn't you have caught that earlier? But I'm not a doctor. How would I know? I don't think Piers is a doctor or has a medical background unless he consulted a doctor before this. How would you know? How do we know? I honestly have no idea. I really don't.
Now, and let's have fair and balance. I'm all here. Let's release all the public records. Let's release all the health records of President Biden, who is not president. Also, let's focus on the man who's currently president. Donald Trump. He's the oldest person to ever be elected president. He's about to turn 79 years old. I want the health records of Joe Biden. I also want the health records of Donald Trump. Specifically, I want the records of his failed assassination attempt. You know, the bullet that grazed the ear. That is very traumatic for anybody, especially a 78-year-old man. Release all the health records. Number one. Number two.
Wow, you're sounding
Donald
like
Trump,
a man.
his health.
Sorry, Vijaya, you are sounding
50-50.
With
Let's do
respect,
50-50.
with respect, you are beginning to sound like a mad conspiracy theorist.
Okay, yeah, that I don't know. I don't know who that is either, but he's sounding a bit crazy right now. He's they're talking about Joe Biden. This is why people say that leftists have, what's it called, Trump derangement syndrome. Trump derangement syndrome. We can't even have a conversation about Joe Biden and conspiracy. Like, it's a ridiculous conspiracy, but let's just address that. You want to have a talk about Trump's health? There is probably some things that's wrong with him. You're right. He's about to turn 79, but this is a conversation about Biden's health.
And the reason the cancer story now matters is if it turns out that they knew he had prostate cancer, which was metastasizing, we don't know when. And, you know, to your point, Majah, I'm very glad that your daughter's okay. And I understand sometimes cancer comes on very, very fast. But she is not the president of the United States. When you're president of the United States, Dave, you get incredible medical treatment and you get tested for just about everything all the time, precisely to ensure that you are fit and able to run the country. So I just cannot.
Okay, so does Piers Morgan know exactly what tests that they're getting? If he could show me, like, all right, this is exactly what tests they're getting. You're actually supposed to get a prostate exam every couple of months. I would be like, oh, really? You're supposed to get a prostate exam every couple of months? Then all right, maybe there's a deeper conspiracy behind this. But obviously, it wouldn't be a conspiracy if he knew, because he would just say, look, guys, you presidents are actually getting these prostate exams every couple of months. So it has to be a conspiracy because they would have known. But he doesn't know. He has no idea, or it wouldn't be a conspiracy. He doesn't have any idea. Sure, presidents probably do get a lot of healthcare. Do we know exactly what they get? Probably not. And if we looked in Joe Biden and any past president, it's probably the same. You could argue that it needs to be different, but it's, what are we trying to say? What is the benefit? Once again, what is the benefit?
We all know that men in their 40s and 50s should be getting this test annually. So either his doctor was completely negligent and hid that, but it's not just that, because he was.
Wait, so why is he just saying 40s and 50s? Or what about men in their 70s? Is it a normal thing for men in their 70s to be getting these tests? I truly, I'm not a doctor. I don't think he's a doctor either, but obviously he's not, because he's referring to ChatGPT. So is it normal for people in their 70s to get this? So let's, I'll put something on screen. Let's see. I'm going to Google search it.
Also either completely negligent or a buffoon or.
Destiny,
fair enough.
Destiny, I do think this matters. Do you?
I'm going to be honest. I haven't followed the news recently, and I lose track of this sometimes. Right now, who's the president? Is it Trump or is it Biden? Because every single day I turn the news on, Trump is talking about Biden, the conservatives are talking about Biden, everybody is talking about Biden. It feels like that is the only thing that these people can ever.
That is super true, but don't be like them. We're having a conversation about Joe Biden. Don't start talking about Trump. Don't be like the people you are accusing. You're just mirroring them. You have to be better. That's the point.
It's not. You can't test for every single disease at every single point of your life. Unfortunately, you just can't do that.
Okay, Michael, let me bring you back in here. I think, look, it's the conversation's been very revealing. But Jar hat on massive distraction technique, and Destiny basically saying old people shouldn't have tests that might save their lives.
Just to be clear, go to
interesting
Google,
arguments.
look up, when do you test for prostate cancer? You don't test every single. You can Google it right now. Put it on the program. Everybody can type it in the
PSA
Are you arguing that they
test literally
shouldn't have
takes 10
tested
seconds.
Joe
You
Biden,
literally
who
have
now
an
has metastatic,
you literally have a blood
metastatic
test.
cancer in
It's
his bones? Are you arguing they shouldn't have tested
It's
him?
a blood test. I bet the President of the United States probably has a weekly blood test. Probably. I'm guessing.
What do you think a blood test is? Do you think you can test for every?
You're guessing. You have no idea. You can't, unless the White House decides to release files or documents. We don't have any idea. So you can't even really, there's nothing to back this conspiracy. It's a cool thought, but you really got a panel of 5 people here to talk about a conspiracy that has no backing, no evidence, nothing. Like, it does sound weird. I agree. Like, it sounds very weird. He all of a sudden got prostate cancer. But what is the benefit? There's no real benefit. Why would you lie about something with no goal? Like, if you're gonna lie, usually there's gonna be a benefit to lying. There's a risk that you're willing to take because the benefit is worth that risk. What was the benefit from this risk? Honestly, I don't think this conspiracy holds any weight. Even though the cancer wasn't caught, he could have just had like a super aggressive cancer that wasn't caught in time. It happens to a lot of people around America and around the entire world. If it ever came out that the president actually does get like weekly or monthly exams testing for these exact things, maybe I could be swayed a little closer towards the conspiracy. But after doing some research, it seems like that after the age of 75, 80, you're really not going to be testing for that kind of cancer. There's going to be too many false positives, other issues can come up. It's just, you don't really get those kind of things after the very limited research I did after watching this video. I don't think there's enough evidence to really make such a big deal about this and to call it a conspiracy. Like I said, if more things come out and we have more evidence, sure, there's scandals that could come from this. I really am having a lot of trouble seeing the benefit, seeing what the Democratic Party would have gained from putting someone out that had terminal cancer and hiding it from everyone. I don't know what the benefit of that is, but other than that, if you enjoyed watching, be sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I also recently created a Discord server. If I ever hit 50 subscribers, I'm also going to start doing live reactions and debate. I look forward to disagreeing with some of you.